time you've given us. Anyone away from operations to have the time to come here, really honored, obviously, to be amongst yourselves. I'm a little one here today. I'm super proud to be here with these wonderful people, starting with Stephanie, obviously, what else can I say? Executive Director of Design and Technical Services at Accor, experienced internationally throughout EMEA. Raphael, who we just had the pleasure to meet outside, who I believe landed a few minutes ago before he came here. So, on Design Director of Marketing at Jannah Hotels, we got Nura, sorry, I'm losing my voice, because I just regained my voice yesterday, as Charles knows. Nuran Kilani, Group Commercial Director, The Book Investment and Tourism, and also Head of Hospitality, Azure Hospitality. Super busy with Neom, I have a feeling here. Patrick, thank you very much for joining us. Valor Hospitality, VP of Operations Middle East. I'll let yourself say a little bit about yourselves in introduction, because I will just be reading off notes that I've learned about you guys over the sessions we've had. But starting with Stephanie, a brief introduction, if I may.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for inviting me to this forum with esteemed colleges and colleagues and experts in the field. So my role is very fitting to this topic. Essentially, I'm the lead person for every new hotel development at Accor in terms of developing the hotel product and the hotel guest experience. So that's, in a nutshell, what I do day to day to talk to all my different colleagues and cross-functional colleagues and external stakeholders to make sure that in the end we have a great hotel experience. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me again. It's a pleasure to be with the amazing people here around. So I'm heading the marketing for Jannah Hotels and Resorts all over the UAE, in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Ras Al Khaimah. And definitely I'm a good fit for this panel discussion, because everything we do is in marketing is related to customer experience, is always tailor-made and custom-made to our customers. So we always put the customer at the core of this business, and we always cater and tailor for them. So we'll talk a lot about the customer experience with all the department, the cross-department things that we will talk about. I'll give the floor to Nuran, which is...
Good morning, everyone. I'm having the pleasure to be among you, all professional people. And recently I've joined Tabuk Investment and Tourism for their hospitality department. Actually, they started in Neom, and most of their hotels are there, so you can realize, I mean, it's a virgin island, they're very rich. And I'm acting as a group director of commercial, overlooking the full commercial aspects in addition to development. And we will share very nice insights today out of the current experience in the region. I leave it to Patrick for now.
Thank you, Nuran. Patrick Antaki, been in the hospitality a couple of years. Probably the youngest in the room, yes.
He's being modest.
I'm today lucky enough to be the VP Operations for a company called Valor Hospitality. For those who don't know, Valor is a hotel management company with no brands. So we run franchised hotels, so we run Accor hotels, Marriott's, Hilton's, etc. But the guest would not know us. So it will bring in a nice element to the guest journey that we're talking about today.
So we're here to really talk about the human beings. We talked about technology, how it integrates, how it works together. How about the departments? How are we going to bring all these silos, not just integrate the wonderful technology we discussed from even our previous presenter, but I'm going to stay with you, Patrick. How do we break down those silos? How are we going to bring that communication together, ensure that everyone can deliver that ultimate guest experience? How do you do it within Valor Hospitality?
Can we be politically incorrect and say line them up on a wall and shoot them if they
door's closed. What happens
do it?
here, no one knows outside. We're only here today, so no one's going to say anything outside.
Yeah, Chatterhouse rules, isn't it? So if they don't listen to you, shoot them. Simple. No. In a hotel, as everybody knows around here, the secret is in the communication. You can't over-communicate. Yes, there can be too much information in some cases, and people suffer these days from information overload. But when you're talking about a guest journey, you can't have enough information. You know, I remember the days 10, 15 years ago when Google started, you know, maybe 15 years ago, and you started, when you Googled a guest, and people say, why are you Googling a guest? And then, you know, it's because you're starting to find out things about them. You want to know if they like orange juice, or if you want to know a few of their likes and dislikes. And that's how, you know, by distributing this information, then you start breaking down silos between departments. Then the departments see that there is a need for them. Oh, housekeeping say, oh, I need to put the orange juice in. Then room service, you know, I need to prepare the orange juice, and etc. So there's, you know, in a hotel, you take it for granted that departments will speak to each other. And it is part of the leader's objectives. It is part of his mission to make sure that they talk together. The worst thing you're going to hear in a hotel is that two leaders are fighting, you know, because of egos. They shouldn't be there in the first place, you're going to say. But when it comes to breaking down the silos between the departments, unless obviously it's technology, but even with technology, if the technology does distribute the information, but you don't train the people to read this information, it's no good.
100%. Before I go to Julio and talk about internal, external communications, we will discuss a moment. You're literally everyone, I think, not only in the room, but outside of this room and in the world, even where I'm based in Austria, talking about your development at the moment. How are you setting yourself up to not have these silos that you've experienced in the past, as we've discussed?
And actually, this is very interesting, because I would just share my experience, not only on the personal level, but from the humble professional level as well. I've just moved there for the last 1 month, and I stayed there, I mean, just to explore how things going, since it's a very virgin market, and again, the experience how guests are perceiving hotels, team members as well. I cannot compare them to what we have here in Dubai, or in any other part of the region, not even in Riyadh and Jeddah. So it's a very nice virgin platform where I start exploring myself on the personal level, that communication play a big part, which that's what I started with a very small note, for instance, to share with our housekeeping, that a handwriting note, I need 1, 2, 3, 4. He replied back with this. So I start feeling that there's something going on. Why don't we start interacting? We want to implement this on the guest level as well. And frankly speaking, it's really crucial. I feel that in NEOM, they are missing the full guest journey experience. Like each department, they are working by themselves. There's no synchronization, right? So this is where I started. I stepped in on the operation, not here on the commercial part. It's well established as of now. I was doing this for the last 3-4 months. But operational wise, I feel like now we need to complement the efforts of the commercial, because once the guests step in, the experience might be spoiled if we don't have the right way of communication. So we start assigning tasks for each of them, and we kept a guest experience manager where she's acting like a coordinator to make sure that these things will be done, right? And again, I keep exploring every day the behavior of, for instance, people of NEOM and Tabuk, which is totally different, especially in Saudi Arabia. It's not, I'm telling you, it's not like the very normal people in GCC. They would just a quick example of what we need to anticipate. One of our guests, he drove around 2 hours from Tabuk to our newly opened Turkish restaurant in the day while the Turkish restaurant was off. It was closed. And we asked, did you have any booking? He said, no, I've just stepped in. Why are you closed? And that started alerting me that marketing team had to work with F&B on getting this information, especially a day before they will close, to tell them that after weekends we are not operating, or else we offer an alternative, because we don't want these guests as well to leave back to Tabuk without having any experience. So we offer him a special customized custom meal, but not in the Turkish restaurant, of course, because it was closed. We try to come out of the situation that we make them happy, and we offer them something different for the next time.
Fair. Perfect segue.
Yeah, I
I was
just
going
want
to
to
say
add.
perfect segue for you,
Yes, I
Julia.
want to add something because she's focusing on the marketing, which is very good. It's like the best collaboration.
Marketing always are stars.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
So thank you. So we always collaborate with the operation team because marketing can bring people. We can spend $100 million on Google ads and Meta ads to bring people to be visible, to position ourselves as the best restaurants. But if the operation cannot maintain it and there's no communication between the marketing and other departments, especially the operation, if we are launching an offer and they are not aware, they cannot communicate it. So communication is the key in all the success in all the departments. This is what I want to add.
Just to capitalize on this, I would just refer to something. The time I joined earlier, it was during Eid Fitr, right? If I would compare the actions taken from the marketing side during Eid Fitr compared to Eid Adha, that we anticipated early and we took care of some customized according to the market needs, I had a jump in occupancy comparing apple to apple around 20 to 30%.
Wow.
In the same time frame, if I compare 2 weeks before Eid, of Eid Fitr, compared to the occupancy of during Eid Adha while there were exams and other stuff, no, marketing played a big role in this.
Yeah, adding to this as well, it's a very short time between Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. So now the marketeers they understand the guest behavior, how to do the story, how to focus what they want. So it's all about data as well, data and communication. That's it.
Stephanie, coming on to this, as a former Accor employee in '98, yes, I look a lot younger than I am. I'm happy to say that for a few minutes. Somehow I survived the hospitality days. But communication, the tools that Accor uses as an example, you and I discussed briefly, how can we say, the proactiveness that you need within an organization like yours. It would be good to show, especially within the audience, that kind of level of interaction that all teams have to break these silos of internal and external communication as such.
So I come from more of the development side, but obviously we also need to communicate with operations team. So at the corporate level, even before we hand over a project to our operations team and general manager, we need to line all the ducks so we have all the information for the owner and for the opening GM, so he truly understands the hotel, the project history throughout before his time. And so we do have this amazing platform and tool that we use, which all the different stakeholders from the different departments must input their workflow, and the workflow shows like dependencies between the different departments to make sure all the different pre-opening activities are in place. And so I think we take pride on this tool because every single project now in the Accor pipeline will be using these tools. And it's a really great exhibition to our hotel owners that they are in good hands. The teams are talking to each other, and we are on track to opening a hotel, which is very important to Accor as a business, but even more important to the hotel owners, which in my perspective is also one of our key customers that we need to make sure that they have great experience while working with us.
Brilliant.
I
Please,
want to
Miriam.
capitalize on this since we spoke about having a nice experience, not only for the guests, for the stakeholders as well. I mean, coming from the commercial background, I have to be engaged at some point with what they are calling me now, the tech architect, right? So as of now, what we are doing, that you need to choose the right systems which you are integrating for your property, which is minimizing cost at some point and excel when it comes to guest experience, right? And we start creating something, what it calls magic in the air. right? Magic in the Air, I'm engaging all our partners. I don't want to share names now, so it's not promoting for someone specifically. But Magic in the Air, at some point, it's playing on the guest experience from the pre-arrival up till post-departure. And here, I'm not talking about system-wise only, but the experience itself. It's like how the lights should be, what kind of sounds we have to have in one hotel to another. We have different categories of hotels. So again, from one hotel to another, they have to have their own DNA. So at this point, I think as well, relating to the last 2 weeks, I saw a big engagement from the clients, that they start realizing that there's something going on. And accordingly, it elevates the experience. Accordingly, they become more loyal. So it's phases.
On that note, Patrick, you operate across different brands with Valor Hospitality. The use of technology to get the departments behind those brands and franchise, obviously you've got different franchise agreements, different brand standards you're coping with, and possibly cross-training some of the team members to handle 2-3 different brands. How's that use of technology within Valor Hospitality? How are you finding that value, and how are you finding your partners supporting you in those efforts?
It's quite funny because we're in the middle of a crossroad at the moment, and the crossroad is the development of all these, what you've just mentioned. So we're at the stage where it's growing so quickly and so far and so exponentially that we have to look at what works across. So for example, I'll take Stephanie's example. We've just done a huge project with Accor, and we've transitioned 3 hotels from another brand to Accor brands, and 3 hotels from managed to franchised. And I must say, technology was a key to working all this. And you know, I've learned a big lesson from Accor at this stage on the certain technology and how to use it. And it's so simplistic. But also the other key thing of it is training. You need to make sure that your associates, your teams are trained to use the platforms, because the platforms can give you as much as you want. Today, it's so easy. You can take in most platforms, you can take the free version, which gives you a base, or you can pay and you can have
The world.
AI, the world. But if the team doesn't know what to do with it, it's going to stay there and not do anything.
Very
You know,
much so.
it's going to just be there as a whip that, you know, people are going to be using against you because you don't know how to use it. It's going to cause you anxiety as a team member. As a manager, it will cause you anxiety because it's not being used. And it's just, the vicious circle is just going to go around. So for us, that's very important. But if we go back to Valor across brands, it goes back to training, because each brand has its own core systems, and this we have to follow. There is no 2 ways about it. That's part of the secret of being a cross-brand operator. But back of house, this is our game, and that's where I'm looking now for a training system, and we've probably found one that does talk across brands, that does implement a level of AI, that does, you know, gets adapted very quickly and can learn and can take on the things from the different places and communicate with the team members at their level. Because let's not forget, you have different languages in this part of the world. You know, Charles was saying there's 52 nationalities in this room alone this morning, you know. So we have to cover nationalities, cultures, the brands, etc. So that is essential as well. And thank goodness for AI today.
Very much. Raphael, you have to obviously get Jana's message out there, but how are you getting the internal departments to follow you in that process? Because obviously they have their own targets, they've got their own worries, their own KPIs to worry about. How do you get them behind your message, so then your marketing message is not just external, but when the guest arrives, internal as well and supported?
It's always about the brand knowledge, the brand DNA, how much they know about the brand. And of course, whenever we are launching anything, it's always good to discuss it with certain department, to take their feedback, especially like I want to do an offer which is an operation can say we cannot do it, we cannot implement it. So it's always good to have the communication and understand their feedback, their purpose, how we can enhance it, how we can make it easier on the operation team, because usually always the fight between operation and marketing. We cannot do it, it's a load on us. There's a lot of offers, there's always this is their feedback. So it's always communication, honestly.
I want to relate to this one because, again, I mean, relating to marketing is very vital at this stage. Due to lack of some resources for the marketing department, especially on a new area like NEOM at some point, I will not be able to get every day a videographer or photographer to come and do me professional sessions to doing some nice videos where I can engage the guest. Saudi Arabia specifically and this region, they are having a hype for the Snapchat and TikTok, right? So they like to see everything live. For them, no static posts. Static posts will not get you any engagement. Right, what should I do? Get team from HR, young Saudis, Gen Z, kind of, and other departments, and I let them do a full guest experience video. You can see this. You can see this video now. And I was like, wow, how did you do this? They did it their way, and I think it was good at some point. And it got the human touch, and that's what's most important. I'm not against the AI. AI is very important, and I'm happy that most of the Gen Z are using this now. Yeah. But the point is, you feel like they don't have the DNA themselves, right? Because everyone is copying from the same source. So eventually I started saying, yes, guys, you can use the AI, you can use ChatGPT or whatsoever, but try to personalize it. Because if we see the results, I can easily say that what I'm reading is from ChatGPT. So you need to have your touch. And since then, they start changing this, and I think it got very positive feedback. So you can see things are rotating quickly.
So that's a brilliant collaboration between the departments, HR doing videos for marketing, owners being happy because the guests are arriving, training and so on. And I can see Charles on my right-hand side, so he's going to keep me to time and to get the show back on the road, so to speak. Really key takeaway for everyone. We've got a mix of groups around. We've got tech providers who are listening with RevPag and everything else. Generation yesterday, I don't even call it Y or Z anymore because everyone expects you to know everything about them. One last point from all of you on how to really get that collaboration. You've obviously got a new project on your hands, so we're going to start with you before we get
It's a lot of try and errors.
Patrick, from yourself, collaboration, how do you get it, Valor Hospitality team members? Obviously, you mentioned your work recently with Accor and moving properties, but you've got a lot more on your plate, and we've discussed this a little bit before, but one key takeaway for our audience.
Training, training, training.
Julia.
It's always because it's marketing perspective. Make it more easy. Make it more human. Like, make it, make it from the heart. Make it from the heart. That's it.
Well, for me, I think it's just asking questions. You don't know what you don't know, and never be afraid, and ask your colleague from a different department what makes you go to work every day. What are your challenges? Maybe I have the same ones. Let's work together.
I want to add one last word.
Please.
Guys, it's the magic word for the coming period, synchronization. All departments had to synchronize to get the goal at the end, synchronization.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm going to finish on a note, and we've all discussed when we connected online is you have the best tools. Technology is going faster than ever at the moment in our industry, which is brilliant to see. I came from 16 years in operations, 10 years as tech suppliers. Some of you met me then. But I think the human connectivity, how we integrate into humans, thinking about them, the stakeholders from day one. We can sign a contract at the top. I was a former ISG employee, as some of you know. But it's the person at the end who's going to use the technology. Get them connected, get them trained, and get them human. Thank you very much to a great panel. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.